Mr. Sarto here. This is episode 1 of the history vlog. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Okay, sorry. I tried to do the crash course music, but that failed miserably. Anyways, I did this screen recording because I think it's going to be easier for us to learn when we look at different bills and laws. And so we're going to continue our trend of learning about civics, but this time we're looking at more local laws, right? And currently, the legislature just opened about, I think, 2 weeks ago, and there's already something like 1,800 bills that are on the table. And a lot of these bills probably won't get passed, but it's just really interesting to see like what some of our representatives are thinking about in terms of how they want to better Hawaii. So we're going to use two sites, and the main gist of today is you're going to actually look at a bill. You're going to choose a bill individually, and you're going to research it a little bit and get some detailed information about it, because eventually we're going to submit testimony, or we're going to write to our representatives in support of a bill or opposing a bill or having comments on a bill. So that is the end goal. But for today, we just need to do some research. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to register on this website. So you go to capital.hawaii.gov and you click register, right? And you put in your name, your organization. That could be Laser Dan Academy, or you could, yeah, just leave it at Laser Dan Academy. Let's not get too tricky with that. You don't need to put your phone number. You should put your school email address because they will send you updates of when public hearings are. And a public hearing is important because you need to know when the representatives are going to be talking about this bill. And that is actually when we can send in our testimony if we want it to be a part of the political process. Okay? So I'm going to skip ahead. I already created an account. And you can see this is what the webpage looks like. It's kind of cool. It gives you some current hearings. There's a button for submitting testimony, right? We're going to shift gears a bit though, and we're going to jump over to another website called Legiscan, right? You can just Google that, legiscan.com. And it's pretty neat. It allows you to look at a bunch of different bills, or all the bills that are on the table. And on the left-hand side, right, you can choose Hawaii, or you can really look at all the bills. But for this activity, you want to look at what are some local bills. And in the little text search part, you can type in keywords: education, environment, reefs, traffic, cars, roads, whatever, right? So I typed in forests because I like the environment, as you know, and hit search, and it gives you all the results that are related to forests, right? So there's about 59 results, or 59 different bills that could be related to the forest, right? So right here it says HB 237, SB 490. HB means House bill, so the bill is introduced in the House and it's originating in the House. SB means Senate bill, right? So I was looking a little bit last night and I found this bill, HB 237, and if you click on it, it gives you a little bit more detailed information. Okay, so it talks about when it was introduced, where it is currently, right? So right now it's pending. It's in the House Agriculture Committee being reviewed. It gives you a little short summary, and here's the sponsor, or the person who wrote this bill, Representative Amy Peruso, who actually is a teacher at Mililani High School, and I got to work with one of her colleagues when I worked at Mililani a couple years ago. So it's pretty cool to see her in the representative role, and it's cool to see someone pushing for these cool laws, right? So if you scroll down, it'll say summary or text, right? So if you hit summary, it'll take you to that Hawaii State Legislature website, and here's the bill on the actual website, right? So it's very similar. It gives you the status of the bill, but you can actually click on the bill and you can read its text, right? So this one is talking about creating a program for food forests. So essentially wanting to cut down the amount of food that's imported into Hawaii by creating spaces like parks, community centers, or other locations that may be suitable for community food usage, right? So we can live more sustainably and be more resourceful, which I think fits very well with being living on an island, okay? So it gives you the fine print, and this is what the bill actually says. And oftentimes, as the bill is going through its process, it might get amended, it might get edited, there might be things added in there. As you can see down here, there's no money that's appropriated for this law to be enacted, right? Like this program is going to cost money. It's going to cost money to create jobs or infrastructure for this food program to happen. So there might be things that might be added on to there, and I think they'd like this act to take effect July 1st, right? So I'm not going to get into the real details of this law, but I just want to show you that's how you can look at the actual text, right? So if we go back, um, there's the measure title, there's a description, right? So on and so forth. Now, if we transition to this page, this is what's on Google Classroom. This is what I want you guys to actually do today. So you're going to spend some time actually researching a bill of your choosing. You can choose kind of anything you want within reason. I recommend you choose something that you're interested in or you maybe have a passion about, or if it's something that you kind of want to learn about, go ahead and choose that, right? And there's a couple of different resources on here. One of them is how a bill becomes a law. So if I click on that, it takes me to this page. And this is the actual process of how a bill becomes law. So right now it's set in the format where if a bill originated in the House, right, goes to the first reading and second reading and so on and so forth. And if that all gets voted on, then it goes to the Senate, right? Very similar process, almost identical. And if everyone votes on that and they want to pass it, it goes to the governor, and the governor can veto it, right? Or he can approve it, and then it becomes a law, right? So that's useful to know because if you go back to this page, oops, nope, here, and I'll tell you where it's at. So pending introduction, this is HB 237, introduce and pass the first reading. So that means it is currently probably right over here and getting prepared for the second reading, but it's still being reviewed by the House Agriculture Committee, right, before it gets moved on again. Okay, so a lot of this is just kind of, oh, sorry. You can also figure out who your state legislator is if you type or click that link. And it says find representatives. You can type in your address. That's my address. Don't come and stalk me. I'm going to delete it. All right, type in your address and we'll show you who your reps are. Okay, which is very useful to know in terms of civics. Okay, going back. So here's what I want you to do today, right? You want to fill out this basic information, number of bill, the measure title or title, right? That can be found. There's the number of the bill, there's the title, there's a quick summary, okay? That summary can go right here in the description. The introducer sponsor is Ms. Peruso, right? The status of the bill is where the bill is at right now. So it's currently referred to the House Agriculture Committee, right? We're going to jump back. Details of the bill, this is where I want you to read, right? So before we write testimony, before we start jumping on the bandwagon and saying, oh yeah, I support this or I oppose this or this is horrible, this is great, you actually need to know what is actually in this bill, right? So if we go back to the summary and you click on the bill, right, it's going to give us the text. You need to read this, okay? You need to figure out what are the specifics of this bill. Yes, it's supporting community food programs, but how? And what are the stipulations? What are the specifics, right? So I want you to fill that out in right here, details of the bill, okay? That part's probably going to take the longest, right, because you need to read and read closely. If you find a bill that's like 50 pages long and, it's not something you're necessarily passionate about or interested in, maybe that's not the right bill for you, right? You want to find something that's interesting enough, but not super wordy, and that makes sense to you, right? Outside research about bill or its contents. So this might mean like outside of these websites, you look up like what is a community food program, or who's Miss Peruso? Like what else has she done? What is her experience? What does the Department of Land and Natural Resources do? Right? Things like that are going to help you understand this process better. Okay? So that's the gist of what I want you guys to do today. If you have any questions, come and ask me, obviously. We're going to move on to another step, the next class, where we actually draft our testimony, and we'll figure out how we're going to submit it. We might submit it to the representatives that created this bill. We might send it to the representatives that are looking at this bill currently. We'll figure that out later, but for now, you just need to research. Okay? All right. Episode 1 of the history vlog is complete. Oh, and by the way, I did a couple other videos for my other class. So on my YouTube channel, you're going to see like 3 different videos of this stuff. Yeah, I spent a lot of time last night. I was up super late. Not that late right now, but the night before, like 12 o'clock, doing this super late. So I got a little loopy and crazy, but it's all good. All right, enjoy.